Hello, my absolutely beautiful astrology soulmates. It's me, Stormie Grace, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for the week of April 17th, where this week, woo-saw, we have got some stuff going on. We're going to start the week with the moon in the energy of Aries. We're going to have that new moon solar eclipse happening at 29 degrees of Aries. The sun moves into the energy of Taurus. We've also got Mercury going retrograde in the energy of Taurus. We've got some energies that are definitely shifting the direction of what we've got going on over this next handful of months. And whenever there are eclipses, it also gives us an opportunity to pattern track backwards and say, okay, what was I doing when I was here before that I can use to understand my own pattern to walk this energy forward over this next 6 months. So we'll be talking about a little bit of this as well. So a couple things before we get started. First of all, if you have not checked out your April horoscope, please make sure you do so on this channel. They are in the April playlist. Check it out for your sun, moon, or rising sign. I tend to think that they are better for your sun sign. That is actually how I cast them under a solar energy. But if you like the alignment of listening to them for your rising sign or you resonate with your moon, get in where you fit in, friends, okay? Either way, if you're listening for that sun energy, you're going to see some of the resonance that starts to show up. Every sun energy will. So make sure you have definitely checked that out, okay? As well, we're in the last couple weeks of having the Astrology 101 and 102 classes on sale, so make sure you click in the description box down below. Check those out. You can move self-paced, and especially if you're newer here, or if you're talking to someone and you cannot answer what happens in the 8th house, what's going on, what are the qualities of Taurus. If you can't just answer these questions and you're in that learning space, this is a great way for you to be able to do that. Make sure you grab your digital transit calendar, and last but absolutely not least, we will be seeing you hopefully at NORWAC in just a couple weeks. Can't wait to share some space with you. Okay, I lied. One more last but not least. Some of you had let me know on Instagram and also down in the comment section down below that you wanted to know more about my family's move to Spain, how we're doing it, how we came to the decision and things like that. Let me know if that is something that you are honestly interested in, because if you are, I will make content and share it with you and tell you how we've done what we're doing, how you can do it, give you the links and all of this stuff, and also the astro decisions that came into that, as well as the family decisions. So if you're interested, let me know, put it in the comment section down below. If not, I'll put it on Patreon or someplace else that doesn't harsh the astro mellow, okay? All right, so coming in on Monday, first thing, we are coming in with the moon in a void of course position. So truly, as we're coming in on Monday, you're coming in under some of that rest and retreat energy. And I do love that because Monday is a moon day. So I typically on Mondays like to move slower. Orient to the week a little bit slower, check in with my emotions, check the inbox, check on my clients, see what's going on. So as you're coming into Monday, know you're coming in with a space to be refreshed before we move a little bit later into the evening and we see the moon move into the energy of Aries. Now, as the moon does move into that position of Aries, it's emotionally bold. It's your emotional fire, right? Like where emotionally inside of your body, where is your fire still lit? Or where do you feel like your fire has gone out? Where are you feeling emotionally prepared to initiate something, take on a new project, move something forward? You're feeling a little bit more, have you ever had this experience where you're growing, you're changing, you're going through a particular season and things are happening around you emotionally, and it's not just that you're not responding to them the same way that you were before, but literally like you feel steady. You feel steady, you feel like not grounded, but you're just like, I'm steady in here, and it's a very internal kind of feeling. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about in the comment section down below, but that's that Aries emotional courage that we can look at underneath this moon. So truly too, emotionally, if you needed to start something and you've been feeling like you need a little help getting your back behind it, this Aries moon is going to be completely helpful to you, okay? When we get to the 18th, remember in the United States at least, it is tax day. So if you haven't handled that or asked for your extension, use that emotional Aries fire moon to call your accountant and ask to get an extension, okay? As we get to Wednesday, first and foremost, we have got the new moon solar eclipse happening in the energy of Aries. This is going to be at 29 degrees. Okay. So first of all, we had a new moon that happened in March at 0 degrees of Aries, so at the beginning portion. So we were planting our seeds of intention to begin or to initiate, not just to begin and initiate something, but also to begin and to initiate our new identities that we want to take out into the world, right? This is a very big piece of real estate that we've all been working on for quite some time, but certainly projects, directions that we want to go. Jupiter's been involved this entire time as well. So truly, you've chosen a path, you've chosen something to take on. Maybe it's a project, maybe it's really big, it's a big vision that you have for yourself, it's travel, it's whatever it is in the Aries area of your chart. And now it's like you're checking in at this 29 degrees to say, don't give up yet, keep going. Plant your seeds of intention for what you need next to keep the journey going, to get to where you need, to have the courage to stand up and to come out and to show yourself, to live authentically, to have the conversations that need to be had in your life, right? This is a very big deal, and it is also our first indicator that you can go back into your life into about 2005, 2006, right in there, and tell me what was going on in your life at that time. What were you initiating? What is the adventure that you said, no, I choose this. I choose to take this on. I choose at that time, maybe I planted some seeds of intention for myself to go on the journey this way and like this. And you took action on that, because we're back as we work with the Aries Libra axes to about that time frame in your life to go back and to review it. Remember, we just live our patterns. So as we follow these eclipses and we'll start to follow the nodal axes of Aries and Libra, just go back to your patterns, because you have that already, and then you're going to see where you can apply new wisdom to it. Now, we will work more in depth, I think, on the Aries Libra nodal axes as we travel 2024, but this is a phenomenal time to be gathering that really delicious energy. Now, this particular lunar event is also happening in square to Pluto, who is now in the energy of Aquarius at 0 degrees, okay? And we're also going to see too that we've got the transiting North Node in the energy of Taurus, sitting in this really, really delicious sextile with Saturn that is over in Pisces. So we have these signatures of, you have to figure out at this new moon where to surrender to win, where you hold, where you fold with this energy, because you cannot push and power through the way that you used to. Instead, your motivation really needs to be set to the tune of, this isn't just about my ambitions and what I want and making me feel good, but it's about building something solid and sturdy for myself, right? It's about putting my back into that kind of action. And squaring Pluto, it's really, I feel like that Plutonian energy in Aquarius is telling you the action that you're trying to take, if you're trying to do it an old way or with outdated methods or with outdated stories, behaviors, tendencies, whatever, you're not going to be able to actualize that to move forward, especially into the new world that we're going into. And when I say the new world, you guys, I'm not just talking about technology. I'm not just talking about the next arrangements on the global stage in terms of who will be allies and things like that. But what I'm talking about is a whole new reality, right? A whole new way of living and being. There are fears, there are stories, there are joys and celebrations that have happened to you in the past, and they are maybe no longer useful in the same way that you've been trying to actualize them. So under these particular aspects that we're going to see, you may find yourself feeling emotionally challenged or emotionally driven, right? You feel driven. You feel like, I want this and I want to drive and I want to push and I want to power through this thing. But you just need to be mindful of, okay, I can push and I can have this energy to empower myself forward, but where do I also need to surrender? Right? Maybe I don't have all of the answers and I need someone to come in and show me the best way to move this thing forward, right? Because just because you're going into battle, just because you're initiating, just because you're starting something, doesn't mean you have all of the information, and it doesn't mean that it has to be overly complicated, right? But if you're having this power struggle dynamic, especially within yourself about moving forward and you need the guidance, absolutely bring it in, okay? Now, as we're also seeing this, just minutes later, we're going to see that the sun actually moves on and gets into the energy of Taurus. So happy birthday, Taurus friends. I'm a Taurus, so I get excited when our season comes around. But happy birthday to you, Taurus energies. And for everybody, happy birthday to the Taurus area of your chart. Every year, at this time, the Taurus area of your chart gets lit up with light, heat, life, motivation. You know, this is where you crave a little bit more stability, luxury, permanence, long-term success, you know, endurance, perseverance starts to show up in your area. Decadence, deliciousness starts to show up in this area of your chart. And I hope that you are treating it really very well, because we're also going to see, you know, we've had Uranus, we've had the North Node, we're going to have Jupiter coming into Taurus. So Taurus is a big signature, including the eclipses we've been working with, right? So Taurus energy has been getting a big bump of attention and of change. So one of the other things I would ask you to do is to track back to last year. What was going on for you in the Taurus area of your chart? And where have you created new stability in this area that you're excited, you're motivated, you're, you know, ready to move forward, you're inspired in this particular area. So you can definitely be watching for that, okay? Now, right before, I mean, it's just just a little bit. It doesn't take very long. We don't get it for a very long time, but later in the evening, we'll actually see the moon move into a position that is void of course, just before the moon goes on ahead and moves on as well and gets into that energy of Taurus. So just be paying attention to that resting time. It's a very, I feel like it's a concentrated evening when we get to Wednesday and early Thursday morning. So kind of watch that energy. And remember, we're in eclipse zone. So even at the beginning of the week, you might feel some of that eclipse energy, and you might feel it most potently, I think, for the next 8 hours, but certainly it can take about 6 months for all of that to play out, okay? All right, when we get to Thursday, we're going to see the sun now happily moved into the energy of Taurus in a fixed square to Pluto, who is over in Aquarius, okay? So when we get the sun and Pluto, this is, again, it's a signature that even though it's a square and it's asking you to do something, it can be very driven. It can be very focused. And this is the kind of energy that I think you get honest, right? There's some real honesty here. And I say it all the time. Sometimes you have to have a breakdown before you have a breakthrough, where you're like, I'm not motivated by this anymore, or this area of my life, this Taurus area of my life is on shaky ground. This needs an adjustment in some way. My finances, my relationship needs an adjustment in some way. And I'm tasked with, first of all, not trying to manhandle either one of these things, but learning new skills and tactics to improve this area. And what do fixed signs do more than anything? Not want to change, right? So there is a requirement for a lot of patience. But with that patience is a delicious drive, you guys, here on Thursday, where it is like, okay, this is not going to be an overnight affair. This is not going to be an overnight matter. It's going to take me some time to do that, and I'm here for the work because I genuinely believe in what is coming for me when I do. Now, we're going to have this experience again in October of feeling this Sun-Pluto square. So take a review. What are you starting now? What are you building now? That we will review when we get to that October timeframe, okay? All right, on the 21st, here we go. Mercury is in retrograde in the energy of Taurus at 15 degrees. Now, we saw Mercury, because you know I like the full cycle. We saw Mercury enter into pre-retrograde shadow time on April 7th at 5 degrees. So between April 7th and April 21st, what's been going on between 5 and 15 degrees of the Taurus area of your chart? I know for me, my sun has been wrapped up in there at 14 degrees, but what's been going on in your chart? Where are you going to review? Because what started to come up is what will be in your review bubble all the way until May 31st. But we start the retrograde today at 15 degrees of Taurus. So Mercury retrograde things. Don't go run and hide under a rock. Instead, review things. It's not the best time to start anything brand new. It's a phenomenal time, though, to review, bring to a close, bring to a finish. If there's conversations, there's documents, there are financial decisions, there are relationship conversations that need to happen or need to be in that review space, or they need to be re-edited, then make sure that you're digging into that. Now, we are going to see Mercury come out of retrograde on May 15th. That's when it comes direct. But again, I caution you to keep in mind that we're not fully out of the retrograde cycle until May 31st, where we see Mercury get back to that 15 degrees of Taurus, okay? All right, later in the day, we've got some more void, of course, moon energy, and that's going to be later in the evening, taking you early into Friday morning before the moon enters into the energy of Gemini. I just feel like, you know what, for Gemini, I think because Mars was here for so long that I even just say Gemini this year, and I'm like, are you guys okay? You know, are you doing all right? Is the Gemini area of your chart doing all right? You know, what does it look like for you? For me, the Gemini area of my chart is in my 10th/11th-ish houses. So where is it at for you guys? And do you find that these areas are refined so that every month as the moon is rolling through Gemini, you have clarity. Your communication here is stronger. You feel like you know how to network, like there are people in your network, like you can resource and you can receive and disseminate information as well. What's going on with you around your emotional life in the Gemini areas of your chart? Because Mars did a lot of work for 7 months. That was a lot of work. So what you have to say, where you know how to be discerning, the new classes that you're taking on, the new people in your network that you're taking on, really I think came at this point still so much as a result of what Mars showed us over there in that Gemini energy that we needed to do to be in alignment with our desires. It also showed us that, you know, I think that if you disagree with people or they disagree with you, that it's not the end of the world. Like disagreeing with someone or not sharing the same opinion doesn't mean that you don't belong in the same network, right? So it's really, with Mars there too, was bridging the gap of, hold on, we can disagree or we can want different things and still be in realistic, like delicious conversation. So curious to hear how you've been experiencing that, okay? Now on Sunday, as we are going to wrap up and wrap out this week, I can't even believe it's going to be the 23rd, you guys. Man, we are blowing through April, aren't we? We're going to see Mercury in a sextile to Mars. Now, when Mercury, the planet of the mind, and Mars, the planet of action, come together in a sextile, they create a pocket of opportunity, but we are intelligently taking action on it, okay? Mars is still out of bounds in the energy of Cancer. So it means when Mars is out of bounds, you have to do things in an out of bounds kind of way. You can't just stay in your normal arena of doing things. Cancer, you can't just stay in your house. You can't just stay in your shell. You can't just stay where it's comfortable. If you're going to build security, if you're going to make different decisions, if you're going to be decisive, you have to do that outside of your comfort zone quite a bit. So with Mercury and Mars working together here, I think that this is a wonderful time to make decisions. But remember, Mercury just went retrograde, so you're likely making decisions off of things that you've already seen. They've already been on the table. This is, oh, okay, I see it now. I can take action, which is outside of the realm of what I was doing or how I was doing it before. And it allows me to be decisive and bring the situation to a close, or it allows me to, process what's been going on. Because with Mercury, especially in Taurus, Taurus is this earthy, persistent, fixed energy. So it's like you can pack a lot onto the Taurus back, right? And I kind of have that symbol happening here where it's like, this is a lot of information. This is there's a lot that needs to be seen and processed and and assimilated and disseminated, right? So you might be sharing information, you might be gathering information, you might be making decisions off of a lot of information. I mean, you think about it, you buy a house, you sell a house, you book a vacation, you don't. There's lots of little steps that you have to go through, and they require persistence and patience, but decisiveness. You do need to decide as you're getting through the information. So hopefully that makes sense in a little bit of an analogy of what this can be like. But do keep in mind, in that Taurus energy, you likely have a ton of information that is on your table, and this is where that knowledge base of opportunity to take action is going to come from, okay? All right, my beautiful friends, I think that, let me say this. This comes to mind. Content creators, business creators, writers, and if you are creating something, I think that this Mercury Mars can be really good for you getting that done, because it's like an outpouring, right? It's really an outpouring of content, of information, things like that. So use that in your favor as well. All right, beautiful friends, if this has been helpful for you, please help me beat the algorithm. Like this video, share it so that it can be seen, so that we can keep the channel growing and share the message of astrology with the people around us. I hope you have a gorgeous week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye, friends.